Nancy Hart, Whole Heart Evolution here with your midweek tune-up. And I really wanted to talk about visioning, especially as we're coming up into the new year and really getting our mindset working in that direction. And it's really wonderful how life kind of provides us each an opportunity to step into that, sometimes when we least expect it. And I'd like to be able to share with you today a story of what some of my newest and latest teachers gave me when it comes to the power of vision, holding a clear vision and then executing on it. And that's where it comes to these guys. These are my three new teachers: tomato, tomato, and tomato. And then we have one other, which is their friend, tomato, which is from another plant. But that's another story. So vision, what did these guys teach me? First technique was about clarity of vision. One of the things that I chose to do when I was home just for a while, kind of my pandemic choice, if you will, is I decided I really wanted a beautiful, beautiful garden. And I hadn't gardened in years. And my vision for it was 2 raised beds in my side yard. They were going to have all kinds of fresh veggies, tomatoes and beans and peas and lettuces and carrots and all that kind of good stuff. And some wise friends of mine said, "Hey, Nance, why don't you just take it one step at a time? It's a beautiful vision, but you haven't done this for a while. Take the step that you can." So what did that look like? It looked like going to the garden store, getting 3 pots, some great soil, 2 tomato plants, and a basil plant. Because what I really had envisioned at this phase was an absolutely amazing mouth-watering caprese salad, which is fresh tomato, fresh basil, some amazing balsamic vinegar, and fresh mozzarella cheese. Yummy! So I started my journey. Now, I started this journey with the tomatoes a little bit late in the growing season for Dallas. And I'm all enthusiastic. I've got this vision set. I get the materials for it. I get everything planted. I water it, put the cages on, and I'm like, yay, we're off to the races. And every day I would go out and I would look at the tomatoes. I'm out with the dog in the morning. I'm looking at the tomato plants, and some say you talk to plants and they grow. So I'm out there, hey, what you doing? And had the hose all set up and ready to go and made sure I watered because we were getting into the heat of summer and I'm here in Dallas. So here I have this vision for this amazing salad and amazing tomatoes. I've got good soil, I'm watering, I'm talking, I'm nurturing it, and nothing's happening. And nothing's happening. And nothing's happening. What was happening was underneath the soil is what was happening. And probably 2.5 weeks in, all of a sudden I started to notice some growth and more growth and more growth. And I'm like, oh, this could be interesting. Then one plant started to take off and it started to put out this little sprouts. It's actually the little tomato guy here, the friend of tomato, tomato, and tomato. And however they pollinate, they started to pollinate. And I started to see, I just noticed one morning, little tiny tomatoes on the vine. I'm like, oh, this is really exciting. Well, the other vine, which is the home of tomato, tomato, and tomato, nothing's going on. The plant is growing, nothing is happening. So there I am, I keep watering it. I keep consistent with it. And I began to learn the second lesson of visioning, which is staying the course, even when things look like they're just not going anywhere. That was an important moment for me. Navigating the disappointment of, hey, I've got one tomato plant starting to go. The basil was doing pretty well, but the other tomato plant just was doing absolutely nothing. But I stayed consistent with it. I was a little frustrated, a little anxious. Nothing's happening. Am I really going to have my salad? Well, the salad came with part 3. And this is part 3 of vision, which is be prepared to be surprised and delighted. So we've created the vision. We've navigated and stayed the course, navigating the disappointment of where are the tomatoes? What's going on? Is the basil okay? But everything else, what's happening? I would say probably almost 2 months into the tomato adventure, all of a sudden I'm starting to see something that looks like this on the tomato plant. I'm like, what in the world? Maybe it is going to blossom. And then I got excited again because friend of tomato was absolutely going gangbusters. All of a sudden I had these beautiful, juicy, little bite-sized tomatoes. And if any of you grew up like I did, where you get tomatoes fresh out of the garden, a little bit of salt on a plate, yeah, lick the tomato, stick it in the salt, pop it in your mouth. It's almost as sweet as candy. Beautiful, beautiful flavor. Well, that's what was going on with this. But then this guy starts coming along. I'm like, oh, this is amazeballs. Yay. So I keep tending. I'm surprised. It actually did blossom, and way, way late in the season. Okay, so I get these guys, and I leave them on the vine, and I leave them on the vine, and I leave them on the vine, and nothing's happening. Okay, back to step 2, stay the course, navigate disappointment. I'm like, well, you know, they've been on there a long time. It just doesn't seem like they're ripening. Maybe I should just take them inside and see what happens. You know, I'd heard of fried green tomatoes. Have no idea how to make them. I've had them. But I thought, well, maybe this little guy will be my first try at that, right? So I leave it on the counter and I kind of ignore it. You know, other stuff's on in my vegetable bin going on. And about a week later, I look down and I'm like, there's a red tomato in the middle of all of the little tomatoes. And I look and I see this. I'm like, what the heck? Where did this come from? This and this come from the exact same plant. I had left it alone. I had let it do its thing to take its course. And sure enough, I ended up with this absolutely beautiful tomato to put on the salad. What I hadn't appreciated and hadn't seen was this phase of the tomato. It came in like this. It took this phase, but I wasn't aware of it in the moment. And I became aware of it when it became the full fruition of the dream that I had. So ladies and gentlemen, the tale of 3 tomatoes and the tomato friend. What does that mean for you? It means 3 things. First and foremost, when you set a vision, make it clear, let it be clear for you. Stick with it, paint it in the greatest pictures, 5 sensorize it, let it be as amazing as these tomatoes are to me. Be able to taste, touch, and smell them, yeah? Know that you can stay the course, that there may be some points of disappointment or twists and turns or things that you don't expect, right? But it doesn't mean just because we can't see it, it doesn't mean it's not happening. We may get little surprises along the way, little happiness along the way. And then be prepared to be surprised and delighted. Absolutely surprised and delighted. So that's my tale of 3 tomatoes. Remember that when you have your vision and you're feeling a little bit down, remember the tomato story, because you too may be able to have something as luscious and as wonderful. Have faith, stay the course, be prepared to be surprised and absolutely delighted. And yummy, yay, yummy. That's it for this week, everybody. I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care, stay safe, wear your mask, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.